right now is Blake Shelton. Blake, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good. You're in the house. I see. I can actually see you. I don't know if you can see me, but are you at home right now?
I did see you. I tell you, what blew me away was you're yawning like you just woke up. Don't you do a morning show every morning?
I do, but I'm going to tell you the days, and I'm going to get into this question about you. The days are extremely long right now, doing the morning show and a couple of TV shows too. But which I'm going to ask you because The Voice, the finale, part 1 is tonight. Tell me about a taping day over at The Voice for you. How long are those days whenever you're sitting and let's talk about the beginning of the season when people are coming in and you have to turn the chairs. What are those days like?
Those days are probably the longest, but they're by a mile the most fun. I mean, it's just there's really at that point not a lot on the line, and so you can say any stupid thing you want to or argue with the other coaches. Once you get people on your team and you start working with them, that's when you feel, or when I feel, responsible for them and, a little more considerate than I do whenever I'm just trying to, make up crap or whatever I got to do to get them to choose me as their coach.
Are there nerves for you when you go into a finale like tonight?
Absolutely, because, these artists and there's not only nerves for the artists that you have left, but there's also, there's a bad feeling for all the ones that have gone home, and that's part of the game. And not everybody can make it, but when you get there, you think, man, all these people that you've worked with right up until this point, they're at home watching, and and it sucks. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff's out of my hands. And so it really does come down to who, sometimes I'll have multiple people in the finale and sometimes just one, and it just depends on, the season and how it's going. But, of course I have nerves for them, not really for me.
Tonight is the first part, then tomorrow night, the second part, the final part of The Voice there. So you guys be sure to check that out. I'm in California right now. I'm in Los Angeles and have been for about a week or so. But you can't do anything here. How are you? What's happening here? I go to work and then I go home and you don't even leave the house.
In fact, you better be careful going to work and going home because you may get arrested for being out on the streets in this town. There's been times where I heard there was a curfew and I'm going, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to be working till 10 o'clock. I guess I just got to dodge the police to get back home. I don't know what to do.
We are essential workers, Blake. You know that, right?
That's right.
At this point in your career, as I go over to music, if you put out a song and it does not go number 1, is that a disappointment to you?
Well, that's been a disappointment, not just at this point in my career. I mean, if you're going to release a song to radio, I mean, you're lying to everybody if you say it's not in the back of your mind that you hope it goes number 1. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't even release it to radio and go through, the promotion process and, all the things that you have to do to be a part of that world. I mean, you see it every week. Somebody is trying to get their record to number 1. And for me, it's not that I expect it to go number 1, but at the same time, I'm disappointed if it doesn't, just because I know how hard everybody on the team works to get those things to the top, and that's what you swing for. That's what you try to get done.
I was thinking about you the other day when Michael B. Jordan was named Sexiest Man Alive, and you hit that a few years ago. And I'm sure it was different for both of you, but how weird is that to be declared the sexiest person alive on such a public platform, meaning everybody that disagrees with it is going to come screaming at you immediately?
Well, they definitely come screaming. I still hear people complaining about me being named Sexiest Man Alive years ago, And, what's funny is it's what's concerning to me is that any grown human being that spends more than 5 minutes of their life concerned with or worried about who People Magazine names Sexiest Man Alive, that's what's concerning to me, is these people that are consumed with this magazine that comes out like it's a the results of an election or something that they're going to have to, somehow affect their daily life. To me, it was just a fun deal, and none of us took it very serious. Even, the people at People Magazine were the first to say they didn't take it that serious that year. That's why they even put me on the cover. It was kind of a blow-off thing, and they felt like the nation needed a little comic relief at that point, and people didn't think it was that funny.
By the way, congratulations on your engagement. Were you nervous?
Thank you.
Did you have it planned what you were going to say?
Only thing that I had planned, Bobby, was that I knew that I wanted to do it in Oklahoma while all her kids were there, and her brother and his family, and my sister and her family. I wanted to do it because we have a group that we get together, like 4th of July's, Christmas, Thanksgiving's. It's kind of turned into this core group of Gwen and I and the family, and then those two parts of our extended family. And so I wanted, and it's been that way for years, so I wanted everybody to be there in the moment. I didn't want to take her away, or do something private away from the kids. I felt like it was important for the kids to be a part of that moment. And so that's what I did. I had the ring for a couple of weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. And to be honest with you, and this is scary, the scariest thing was I had that ring in the compartment on my door of my truck for about a week. And I don't know about you, but stuff falls out of that damn thing on my truck all the time. I'm digging in there looking for a flashlight or change, and I kept thinking, man, somebody's going to hit the jackpot whenever I drop this thing out of my truck. But luckily, because I wanted to keep it in there all the time because I didn't know when I would have the exact right moment. But thank God I didn't lose the ring.
How did you go about getting her right ring size?
Well, she has a very specific jeweler here in Los Angeles that she loves, and that she has been her go-to place for years, I guess. And so I was able to get that contact information. And be honest, though, the ring ended up being a little bit big, so she's had to go back and get it, fitted a little bit. I wanted it to be. I would rather it have been big than too small to even get on her finger,
Christmas is almost here, and now you have produced another Christmas movie. How in the world did you get into producing Christmas movies to begin with? Is it 3 now that you've done?
Which is a stretch, by the way. It's like at this point, it's like, hey, we've done everything. We just sign off on it and approve it. But I do try to have a thumbprint on them, and because the original movie was based on a book that my mom wrote, which was based on a song that my mom and I wrote for my Christmas album. And so that's kind of how this whole thing kind of got spun out and happened. And I think, the movies have done well for Hallmark Channel, just that little short franchise thing we have going on. And all those movies, it's so easy to get sucked into those Hallmark movies. I fall for it every year. And so I am proud to be a part of it. It's such a, Christmas is like official when they start showing these movies, and every night of the week you feel like you could, celebrate Christmas that night because of those freaking movies, and they have the greatest happy endings that you hope they do. So I know that's not really answering your question, but I try to have as much input as I can. But they don't want a lot of deer hunting in their Hallmark Christmas movies, and to me that's Christmas, but they don't like that.
All right, as we get closer to the end of this interview, I got a couple voice questions to ask you. Number one is the big one. Could this season be your last?
No, it's not going to be. We've already, believe it or not, we had filmed the blind auditions for next season already back in October. So you're stuck with me at least for next year's voice.
And who has the bigger trailer right now, you or Gwen, or do you share a trailer?
I tell you, we're out of the trailer business is gone now at Universal because of, the COVID world that we're living in. So we're all in a studio that's got these little, like, very half-size little dressing rooms that they put us in this hallway that's like this confined area that's almost like going into a ICU or something. I mean, they're not playing over there about it. So all the glamorous, fun parts of The Voice in Hollywood that it was like when I first came here, that's long gone. We are dying to get out to our seats on the show so we actually have some space.
All right, you guys watch The Voice tonight, and then tomorrow night is the second half of the finale.
It's a Bobby Bones show.